Welcome to Lose a Pound a Week with Food for Healthy Guts. This week I wanted to talk about dieting. And the reason dieting is such a subject close to my heart. So when I was a little girl, I watched my mum try every diet there ever was. I think it was the South Beach diet, and then there was a grapefruit diet. There were so many diets. My mum knew the calorie of everything. She kept a piece of paper next to her and she wrote down everything she ate and how many calories there were in everything she ate for her entire life. As kids, our favourite diet was the fudge diet, and that was because you couldn't eat very much during the day at all. I can't even remember what she was meant to be eating. But what you did do is if you were hungry, you had a piece of fudge. What a weird diet that was. Anyway, we loved that because we weren't allowed sweets all the time as kids. We were only allowed sweets on a Saturday when we met our nan at the hairdressers. Then we were allowed some sweets, but otherwise the fudge diet meant that we could sneak into the pantry and get fudge. So why am I telling you all this? Because there are lots of ways to lose weight. You can do low fat, you can do calorie counting, and you can do low carb. You need to find the diet that works for your body and makes you feel good. But you do need to understand how your body works. So as an IBS sufferer, I never really dieted, and I think partly that was seeing my mum diet all her life and writing down lists of food and how many calories, and it really put me off. And I think that with children, those kind of examples do one of two things. They make you go down that same route, or they really put you off. It really put me off. So as an IBS sufferer, I didn't really diet. My main concern was, how do I feel better? What can I do for my pain? And so you will know, if you know me, that I read a book called The Gut Makeover, and it completely changed the way I felt about my IBS. But the big benefit to me of that book was that I lost 10 kilos. I lost 10 kilos in about 2 months. It was quite amazing because basically it was a low carb diet. Now, when I started training as a nutritional therapist, one of the things we needed to do was look at the diet industry and look at the different diets that were available. Low-fat diets mean that you have to swap the fat for something else, and you generally swap it for carbohydrates. Carbohydrates spike insulin. Insulin tells your body to store the energy in your cells, or once they have done that, it tells you to store all the extra glucose you have in your bloodstream in your fat cells. So unfortunately, a low-fat diet can make you feel very hungry, but it also means that you end up storing fat, which is not what you want to be doing. A low-calorie diet really is similar to a starvation diet, and eventually your metabolism slows down. So if you have stayed on a low-calorie diet for a long time, you might find that you plateau, and no matter what you do, you can't lose any more weight. In actual fact, you start to put weight on. That's because your metabolism has slowed down. So I don't really like either of these diets because I don't like to be restricted, and I find a low-carb diet for me is not restricting. It means that I can have lots of protein for breakfast, which really keeps me satisfied until lunchtime. It means that I can have steaks and burgers. Yesterday we had a really lovely burger and salad that is perfectly great on a low carb diet. And in the evenings it means that I can have protein, I can have lots of vegetables. I do think these days that as a low carb person I want to look after my gut health, so I do have under the ground vegetables, which are quite high in carbs, but they are good for my microbiome. So as everything in life is a bit of a toss-up, a bit of a compromise, a bit of this is okay, but this is better, that's what I do. So I do like to have my onions. I do have potatoes sometimes because I love roast potatoes. I like sweet potatoes when I go out, and I have them as an alternative to chips sometimes. So a low-carb diet has really benefited me. It helps to keep my weight stable. The only other thing that we haven't talked about diet-wise is intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting really does benefit me. It does help me to lose weight if I do have a couple of pounds that I want to lose. But the one thing it does do, regardless of all the information that says it won't do this, it does make me feel very lightheaded in the mornings. Because that's when I do my fasting, really, is from 5 o'clock at night where I have my dinner until the next day where I have a breakfast. So that might be 11 o'clock. It does make me feel lightheaded. I do like to take an electrolyte, and this is my favourite electrolyte. It's Body Bio E-Lite because it doesn't have any sugar in it and it doesn't have a weird taste. Though, weird texture. So I do mix it with a little bit of cordial because the texture is a bit weird. But anyway, it does the job. I do try to make sure I'm not doing anything very taxing when I am doing fasting, because it does make me feel a little bit spacey. So I fast maybe 2 or 3 times a week when I am fasting. I don't do fasting all the time. I don't feel like my body needs it. So they are 4 options. Low carb, my favourite. Low fat, not my favourite. Low calorie, not my favourite. Intermittent fasting. They are my 4 favourites. If you would like any more information, then you can go onto my website and book in for a free 30-minute discovery call. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.